Whoa, have you heard about the latest jaw-dropper from the FBI? Buckle up, because this story is wilder than a roller coaster ride. Picture this. The FBI, yes, those super sleuths who always seem to pop up in movies, swooped into Tiffany Henyard's house and found something straight out of a blockbuster heist movie. Instead of a few bucks in the cookie jar, they stumbled upon millions. Yes, millions of dollars stashed away like she was in the middle of a heist movie. And who's Tiffany Henyard, you ask? Well, she's not your typical small-town mayor. She's got a whole saga of scandal and drama that could make even the most action-packed movie look tame. Imagine this. Tiffany Henyard, who once strutted around town flaunting her title of super mayor, has some serious explaining to do. This isn't your run-of-the-mill mayoral story. Nope, Henyard was living large on the taxpayer's dime. And when I say living large, I mean it. Think luxury vacations that would make even the most famous celebrities jealous, endless shopping sprees at designer stores, and get this, a driveway for her mom that cost a mind-blowing $500,000. And guess who paid for all this extravagance? Yep, you got it. The hardworking taxpayers. While her town Dalton was practically sinking into a sea of debt, Henyard was out there playing the part of a reality TV star. But wait, there's more! The real twist in this tale is that the FBI didn't just find a small stash of cash. No way. They uncovered millions hidden away, like Henyard was secretly the star of a heist movie and forgot to tell anyone. And while she was living the high life, her town was struggling under a mountain of debt to the tune of a whopping $3.5 million. Looks like Super Mayor might need more than a fancy title to get out of this mess. To really understand why this whole thing is such a big deal, let's rewind and see how Henyard even ended up in the mayor's chair. It all started when the previous mayor, Frank Zuccarelli, passed away unexpectedly. People were a bit skeptical when Henyard got the job, but she came in with big promises and even bigger dreams. Not only was she the mayor of Dalton, but she also took on another job as the supervisor for Thornton Township, raking in a cool $200,000 a year. She even dubbed herself the Super Mayor, like she was some sort of superhero. But instead of saving the town, it looks like she was more interested in building her own little empire. Henyard's rise to power felt like something out of a movie script. She was new on the scene, full of energy, and her supporters were thrilled when she took office. For a while, everyone was excited about her big plans to make Dalton the coolest place around. Before her big win in 2021, Dalton was just a regular suburban town with fairs and parades, nothing too crazy. But for a brief moment, Henyard was the local celebrity, and people were all in on her promises. However, the honeymoon phase didn't last long. Once Henyard got settled into her role, things started to get sketchy. Like, seriously shady. Her time in office became more than just controversial. It turned hostile. Anyone who dared to question her or speak out against her was quickly silenced. She ruled the town like a queen with an iron fist while the town's finances went from bad to worse. And the drama didn't stop there. Henyard's tenure was packed with accusations of her using her power to live the high life, complete with over-the-top security details and wild trips to Vegas. It was like watching a soap opera unfold in real life. But it doesn't stop here. Picture this. A so-called breast cancer charity with her name plastered all over it. But things are way fishier than they seem. It turns out, while she was out living the high life with luxury vacations, fancy dinners, and a mountain of designer bags, she dropped a jaw-dropping $561,000 just to repave her mom's driveway. And guess who picked up that bill? Yep, the hardworking people of Dalton. Let's dig into the first big red flag. Henyard was running around promising to fix up the community's housing, secure funds for seniors and veterans, and bring in new developments. Sounds great, right? But guess what? All those promises are being drowned out by a massive federal investigation into her spending, the kind of trouble that could really land her in hot water. Now, about that so-called breast cancer charity, the T.I. Henyard Care Foundation. On the outside, it looks all warm and fuzzy, but dig a little deeper and you'll see that those hefty donations were actually coming from taxpayer dollars. Her former chief of staff at Thornton, who she later kicked to the curb, uncovered some seriously shady receipts. Henyard was charging thousands for hotel rooms and luxury perks on trips, all paid for with Dalton and Thornton Township credit cards. In just 5 months, she blew through $67,000 on travel. That's more money than most folks in Dalton see in an entire year. She was living like she was on a reality TV show, while her town's bank account was as dry as the Sahara. Imagine this. Henyard goes on a business trip to Springfield, But instead of attending meetings, she's chilling in luxury hotels, riding motorbikes, and even had her own DJ and drone photographer. And guess who's footing the bill? Yep, you guessed it, the taxpayers. She even sold merch like t-shirts and hoodies ordered by Thornton Township. When people asked about it, she clammed up tighter than a secret vault. And it gets worse. Henyard's ego went through the roof when she started plastering her face on gigantic billboards all over the village. And these billboards weren't paid for by her campaign, they were funded by public money. Using taxpayer dollars to promote herself? That's not just shady, it's totally illegal. Even seasoned political experts were stunned. It's one thing to promote a candidate, but using public funds for self-promotion? That's a whole new level of messed up, and state election laws totally back that up. And let's not forget her so-called security detail. Henyard wasn't just rolling with a few bodyguards, she had full-on 24/7 protection, like she was a celebrity or a top-level politician. For a small-town mayor, this just doesn't add up. As soon as she took office, Henyard put together a crew of hand-picked officers to protect her around the clock. All this while, her town was left struggling. Tiffany Henyard's security detail was not your average bodyguard squad. Oh no, it was like something out of a fantasy world, racking up thousands of dollars in overtime. For instance, take the officer Terry Young. In just 2 weeks, this guy supposedly worked 303 hours and walked away with a paycheck of over $113,000. Wait a minute, there are only 336 hours in 2 weeks. Either Terry's got some crazy time-bending superpowers or something really sketchy is going on. Henyard's security team was burning through over $1 million of Dalton's money. That's right, a whole $1 million for a tiny town already buried in debt. It's like if your piggy bank suddenly turned into a black hole. While most people in Dalton are struggling just to get by, Henyard's living like she's the president or something. And get this, Henyard's security squad wasn't just hanging around town. Nope, they were tagging along on every single trip she took, even out of town. This wasn't just a little annoying, it was downright embarrassing for the locals. Henyard claimed the extra security was because of some vague threats. But come on, nobody was buying that story, especially not after she fired the police chief for daring to question her supersized demands. So, you might be thinking, maybe Henyard's just a genius with money. Nope, the receipts tell a different story. While Henyard was living the high life, Dalton's financial situation was going from bad to worse. They were sinking deeper into debt while she treated the town's budget like it was her personal piggy bank. When people started asking hard questions, Henyard had the nerve to say that's just part of being a public figure. Seriously, last time I checked, being a mayor doesn't come with a VIP pass to Gucci. Trustee Jason Howe wasn't having any of it. He spilled the tea, and boy, it was hot. He pointed out that while being a mayor is a tough gig, it doesn't include a shopping spree on the taxpayer's dime. Henyard seemed to mix up public service with self-service, and if you think that's bad, hold on to your seat because it gets crazier. Henyard had some seriously harsh ways of dealing with anyone who dared to stand up to her. If you questioned her, you didn't just get a warning, you got a full blast of her wrath. She would deny business licenses, fire employees who wouldn't spy on her enemies, and create all sorts of trouble for those who didn't play along with her power games. Lawsuits piled up as former workers claimed they were wrongfully terminated just for not joining her shady schemes. In this one case, Dwayne Thrash, a longtime employee at Thornton Township, was supposedly fired because he wouldn't get involved in Tiffany Henyard's shady schemes. Henyard wanted Thrash to help swap out an attorney for someone her assistant liked better. Thrash said no, even though she offered him an extra $10,000. Guess what happened next? He was fired faster than you can say unfair dismissal. But hold on, the drama doesn't stop there. Carmen Carlisle, who was once a big supporter of Henyard, has done a total 180. She's now blowing the whistle on all the underhanded tactics Henyard was allegedly using. Carlisle is not holding back. She's calling out Henyard's dirty tricks left and right. And if you thought that was intense, wait until you hear about former trustee Valeria Stubbs. She claims Henyard took things to a whole new level of crazy. We're talking about harassment at her home and even sending the police to intimidate her. Imagine opening your door and finding cops there just because you disagreed with the mayor. And it gets worse. One person reported being put on unpaid medical leave after speaking up about sexual harassment involving a trustee. When they tried to report it to Henyard, bam! Retaliation City. Even Henyard's former assistant, Fenya Dukes, is in on the lawsuit action. She's saying she was sexually harassed during a taxpayer-funded trip, and when she reported it to Henyard, you guessed it, More retaliation. It's like Henyard is running Dalton like her own personal kingdom, where anyone who doesn't bow down gets kicked to the curb. Now, the Dalton board decided it was time to take action. They opened a probe, asked Henyard to submit the village's financial records, and even invited the FBI to investigate. But Henyard wasn't having any of it. She vetoed the board's resolution, claiming it was just a personal attack against her. During a heated board meeting, she declared that her community was under attack and she would fight back against what she called a smear campaign. But here's the kicker. While she's shouting her innocence, the numbers paint a different picture. Dalton is staring down a $2 million deficit, with hundreds of thousands owed for things like street paving and tree trimming. And here's where it gets really messy. Since 2021, Dalton hasn't had an annual audit. That's right, no one has been checking the town's books. It's been like the Wild West with taxpayer money leading to financial chaos. But don't worry, help is on the way. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been brought in to investigate Henyard's spending, and she's digging deep. What she's found is enough to make your head spin. The town's general fund is a shocking $3.65 million in the red, and the police department's spending has skyrocketed by 21%. Tiffany Henyard is in a world of trouble, and instead of owning up to her mistakes, she's pointing fingers like a pro. She's throwing her former right-hand man, Keith Freeman, under the bus, claiming he's the mastermind behind all the financial chaos. According to Henyard, she was completely clueless about the mess and was just misled by Freeman. But guess what? No one's buying her innocent victim act. Now, let's talk about Keith Freeman. This guy's in hot water for bankruptcy fraud, and it looks like he's not keeping quiet. Word is, he's spilling all the secrets to the investigators. You can bet Henyard is sweating bullets right now. I mean, imagine your former bestie turning on you and blabbing all your secrets. But here's where it gets even juicier. Henyard's blame game isn't winning her any fans. The village board, led by trustee Jason House, is calling her out on those outrageous trips and the town's huge $2 million deficit. Henyard's response? She's playing the smear campaign card, saying these allegations are just personal attacks. She even tried to pull the boys club card, claiming the board is against her because she's a woman. Sorry, but that excuse is as flimsy as dollar store toilet paper. Things have gotten so bad that the state of Illinois had to step in and freeze Dalton's funds. That's right, the grown-ups had to come in and take away the town's allowance because they couldn't be trusted to handle it responsibly. And to make matters even crazier, the FBI is now involved. They've slapped Henyard with subpoenas and are demanding to see everything: payroll, reimbursements, travel expenses, you name it. Imagine FBI agents rolling up to Henyard's place like it's the season finale of your favorite crime show. They're tearing through her house, flipping cushions, and searching like they're on a treasure hunt. And guess what they find? Not just some loose change, but stacks of cash hidden away like it's buried treasure. But here's the real question. How much cash are we talking about? And is it enough to land Henyard in serious trouble? The cash is just the start. The FBI isn't stopping at her personal stash. They're digging into everything. We're talking business records, financial statements, and even that charity she's been bragging about. Henyard's entire empire is under the microscope. When you're a public official, every dollar needs to be above board. And it's not just about the money. The FBI's got receipts and is looking into everything from wire fraud to embezzlement. We're talking serious charges that could have Henyard trading her mayoral sash for an orange jumpsuit. The FBI has been on a serious mission, grilling witnesses, digging into Tiffany Henyard's shady side gigs, and even catching her red-handed with public funds being funneled into her Amazon shopping cart. That's right. While she was shopping for the latest gadgets, the taxpayers' money was mysteriously vanishing. But wait, there's more. The FBI didn't stop there. They went all out with electronic surveillance, making sure to leave no stone unturned. They've been watching every move and checking every detail like they're on a mission from the future. Now, let's talk about Keith Freeman, Henyard's former right-hand man. He's not just any old aide. He was Henyard's go-to guy, the one who knew all her juicy secrets. But guess what? Keith's now been busted for bankruptcy fraud and is singing like a canary to the feds. Imagine being in Henyard's shoes with your former bestie spilling all your secrets. But hold on, Henyard's not giving up without a fight. She's actually trying to secure re-election as the Thornton Township supervisor. Yep, she's counting on her older supporters to keep her in office, even with the FBI breathing down her neck and scandal after scandal popping up. It's like she's hoping her magic charm will keep her afloat while her whole operation is on the brink of collapse. And it's not just Henyard who's in hot water. The FBI is coming for her whole squad. With state funds getting cut and the feds digging deeper, Dalton's future is looking like it's on shaky ground. When a mayor gets caught with their hand in the cookie jar, it makes it super hard to trust anyone who steps up next. So, what's the game plan for Dalton? First, they need to clean house. That means rooting out all the bad actors and making sure this kind of financial mess never happens again. Dalton needs new leadership, someone who can balance the books without treating the town's bank account like their personal piggy bank. It's going to take everyone in the town pulling together to fix this huge mess. And here's a thought. Do you think there was more they could have done to stop Tiffany Henyard before she wrecked everything? Looks like Dalton has a big job ahead to get things back on track.